The first time I masturbated, I never thought I would say this.
We're going deep real soon. Hello and welcome back to another episode of TBH. Today we will be talking about porn, and we know that porn is something that we have come across, and whether we are looking for it or not, it's everywhere, it's normalized, and it's one click away. But that also leaves a lot of us wondering, is it actually a big deal? And why is the church so against it? So to help us unpack today's topic, we have Father Garcia, who will help us to understand the moral theology and the church's teaching behind it. And we also have Shem, who will be sharing with us his personal journey with porn addiction and how he has overcome it. So to kickstart the conversation, Shem, can you share with us how you first got into porn?
I think I was in primary 4 or primary 5, and my best friend at the time showed me a pornographic magazine. You start to wonder, what the opposite sex looks like. And then after that, it just became a habit.
Do you find like there was something, like you were longing for something deeper, and that's why you were looking at it?
That was later on, when I was going through like a couple of lonely years, because I was sent away to boarding school at a young age. I didn't know why. I didn't want to go. I was literally on the other side of the earth. And my friends were all here. And my parents went with me. And of course, in boarding school, that is just like porn central, right?
Where you were, you could get it.
Yeah, all the other boys had some, and it was in the UK. So you could actually just go and buy it off the shelves if you had a fake ID kind of stuff, right? Or, so it was readily available.
Father, actually, what's your take on it? Why do you think people watch porn? Is it because of pleasure or loneliness or?
Usually it starts with curiosity. You want to know how the opposite sex looks like because you are not exposed to that, and then you explore, and then you start to feel that it feels good. First of all, like arousal, and then if there is masturbation, there is, of course, the pleasure that comes with it. If you continue to do that, you train yourself to feel good with this, and this is what causes the addiction.
I think there's many triggers for it, but loneliness and wanting to feel a sense of connection, something real. Even though you knew, I knew this was artificial, the whole time. I guess it was a very temporary relief and just a temporary, connection of some sort, you see. And that I think that is one of the reasons why, I don't know about young girls or females, right? But males, they get into it because it's so easily accessible,
I do think that for women, maybe porn feeds a different part of them as compared to men, right? Because, I can't speak for men also, what you're looking for when you're turning to porn. But I do think that for women, it fits into the desire to be desired. Yeah. It's like you said, porn is becoming more sophisticated and everything, and now there's storylines, and then there's the plot, right, of I don't know, it's not just the act anymore, but it's there's a relationship, they show you the relationship.
Okay, that's exactly what I was thinking, that as it become more sophisticated, we may touch better on women's lust, which is quite interesting, that women's lust and men's lust are different. They're looking for different things. And the way I know that is because if you compare male prostitution and female prostitution, they're very, very, very different.
What do you mean?
Yeah,
what a man pays for in a woman prostitute is just give me this 10 minutes.
Oh, and then the woman want to spend time and all that.
The woman doesn't want that. They wants attention, wants flowers, wants whatever they want. I don't, I'm not claiming any expertise in that area, but it is certainly different. How gigolos work and how women prostitution work is like a different job, which means that once again, that what women are looking is in the lustful desires are kind of incompatible, while chastity should be compatible. When two people really love each other, that we are united in the good desires, but we disagree in the wrong desires. That's I think, a good sign to say that this is not something conventional or cultural. It is really natural, that we all want right love, but when it goes wrong in incompatible.
Yeah, it's so interesting, right? Men are looking for, I guess, in some ways, the physical, and then the women are looking for the emotional. But when you have true, authentic love, both are fulfilled in their own ways.
Yeah, because if you are looking for any of the two without the other is not complete. It's not wholesome, which is what sexuality is all about, once again. A desire for the whole person, not just one aspect of the person rejecting the other. And once again, very often women want emotional gratification without the relationship. And men lust, female lust.
I thought they still want the relationship.
They just want the connection.
No, not always. There are many women who use men because he makes me laugh, he buys me dinners, he makes me feel, he sends me presents and all this.
You don't have the hassle of a relationship.
I don't want to marry him. I don't want him. I just want his
And how I feel.
attention.
Right.
So once again, to understand lust properly is the use of the other person for sexual gratification, not only genital gratification. So typically in men, they want to use the body of the other person for my genital gratification. But in women, it's more like I want to use this guy for my emotional gratification.
Can I ask you the first time you saw the magazine, right? And then I'm assuming you masturbated as well, right? So do you remember how you felt when you first, I guess, reached orgasm? Was it just pleasure or?
Yeah.
Oh, purely pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
The first time I masturbated, I never thought I would say this.
Going deep real soon.
What do you mean by purely pleasure? What else do you expect?
I'm assuming that there's a level of a hiddenness and shame that
okay.
So I'm wondering whether there's consciousness.
I actually masturbated completely innocently as a child before any exposure to porn, a few years before. So it was just in the shower, right? And I was just playing with the shower head, and then I was like, hang on, this feels really good. After a few nights of experimenting and it's suddenly, I have an erection and what's this? Then I had an orgasm and it's whoa, that felt really good. That's why when you said so it wasn't, the first time I had an orgasm wasn't linked to pornography. It was just, I think I was pretty innocent at the time, completely innocent. So I would just do it a lot, right? Yeah, just go have a really long shower.
But you didn't think to speak to your parents or your friends
No.
Why will you laugh?
I think that could be the last thing in his mind or anybody's mind. I'm doing this.
What just happened?
Let me tell my father about this. This is something I want to share with the rest of the world.
I'm asking because the thing is, if there was no shame, no nothing, I mean, then it's I don't know. Because if there's no shame and no...
I suppose, I don't know, but it's not playing with, I don't know, your ears, so I suppose there is some reservations.
No, but if there was no absolutely
Maybe he means no shame in the sense of something morally wrong, but shame in the sense of this is not something I should do in public.
Yeah,
right?
Because
or share with the rest of the world and say, hey,
our private
Daddy,
parts,
you know what
right?
happened?
So but there was no shame in the sense that it was something bad.
No, so do you think the concept of shame tied to pornography or masturbation is because of religion then, right? Because the first time he did it, there wasn't any shame. And so for people then who have grown up in the faith, is that why they are tying shame to?
No, shame has nothing to do with religion. It has something to do with privacy. So you don't want to do things that are perfectly innocent. Going to the toilet is perfectly innocent. You don't want to do it in public. It has nothing to do with religion. It has something to do with people judging you or people watching you do things that are meant to be by yourself because they are not very, very, very good for other people to see. Taking a shower is perfectly innocent, right? But people don't do that in public usually. And if you do, or some people catches you in the shower, you feel ashamed. So it has nothing to do with morality per se.
How long were you addicted to pornography for?
A long time. If you want to say how long I've been addicted to it, then I would say, I guess that is how long I've been struggling with it. So that would be, 25, 30 years. I always knew deep down that it was wrong somehow. My Christian upbringing, but I didn't really fight it. I guess when it started affecting my life, that's when I really tried to stop, to quit, and to struggle and wrestle with it, you see.
How did it concretely change you? What were the concrete effects?
I just became a very selfish and self-serving person. I couldn't focus. I was very distracted when I was trying to study. So I would have a textbook open and I would have an exam the next day. But I just couldn't, turn the computer off.
Oh, because you were distracted by
because I was
sex.
just looking at porn, right?
Right.
So that was horrible.
Okay.
And I just felt like it I had no control over it, you know. The real, I guess, wake-up call was when I was unfaithful to an ex-girlfriend who loved me very much. And then it kind of hit me over the head that actually I'm not a nice guy.
So it was very clear to you that all that was because of the porn addiction? Because I mean, some people might be like, oh, you know, because I could have cheated maybe because like there were issues in the relationship or whatever. But it was clear to you that it was because of porn.
Yeah, because of how distorted my definition of sex had been. So it works backward, you see. So my driving force at the time was to have sex with different girls, right? And then if you take a step back, that force was because of the many years of pornographic abuse before that, and masturbation, and getting it so easy, getting that relief, right, so easily.
If you go onto the internet now and you just search, is porn good or bad for you, right? And a lot of doctors out there actually say that it's good. No, but I think this is where I got a shock out of my life, because I think, you know, if let's say you don't have a religion and then you just kind of like just am searching and then you just go on the internet and you just find is porn good or bad, and the natural answer that comes through is that it's not inherently good or bad. So it's like a tool. It depends on how you use it, how often you use it. And so if I am a young boy or I'm a young girl, and that is the thing that's being fed to me, then I would say, then it really depends on how often I use and what type of porn I watch. If I don't watch those kind of like violent porn and stuff like that, then, you know, I think it's okay. So I think that's where I got quite scared for our society in that sense.
It's quite interesting because my experience is kind of the opposite, in the sense that porn used to be like, oh, it is natural, it is normal for boys to be curious, it is a stage in your life that everybody has to go through and all that. That was kind of the old style. But nowadays I have seen more and more videos on particularly people from the neuroscience field saying how bad porn addiction is, which it is, at least in my feed, totally new. People who are not from the church are bringing up the issue that maybe people shouldn't be addicted to these things. So I think there has been, in pornography, there has been a big divide between the printed pornography, which, was just a naughty thing and all that, to internet pornography, which is a huge problem. And many people are talking about a pandemic, in the sense that, of course, it is not so obvious, but there are many people who are addicted, and it is affecting a lot of marriages. So they say, no, it is a really bad thing to be addicted to this. So the internet is very broad, but I think aside from the old view that it is normal, nothing wrong with it, it is just, unless you go to these extremes, it is just, there is this new awareness that it is a serious. If you think about drugs, this is like the ideal drug. It is free. You don't have to pay anyone. It doesn't hurt your health like alcohol or any other drug does. So, and I'm not surprised that people who are into pornography addiction are kind of very deep into that. Or you can go very deep into that, precisely because it is more available than any other drug. You don't have to buy anything. To be satisfied, you only need your right hand, unless you are left-handed. and all these things. So it's readily available, no harmful. The only drug that you are taking is dopamine that your own brain produces and doesn't harm you in any way. So in many ways, it is almost like the ideal drug. So, and there are people who are being affected, and people who are saying, maybe we should bring this issue up and try to do something about this.
Yeah. But I mean, when I did my research, so what came back for me also was that science is saying it is an issue. Pornography is an issue.
So this is for the first. This is only in the few recent years.
Yeah, but I guess the question then was, because I mean, you're talking about pornography addiction and how your brain will change. So your body changes to it, right? Just like how drugs change your brain as well. But I guess the question then that came up was, is there a difference between porn consumption and porn addiction?
Oh, some people, it depends on whom you ask, right? Some people speak about like three things. One is consuming, another one is compulsive consuming, another one would be addictive. So addiction typically is when you want to get rid of it and you cannot.
Yeah, so what if they say, okay, I'm not addicted, but I'm consuming?
Okay, so that would be another question. So if it is addiction, all addictions are bad for people. So let us try to establish that. Yeah. But even if it is not, he was saying that it is quite clear that the more you consume, the more it rewires your brain particularly thinking about sex. You are expecting that when you are going to have a relationship with someone, this person is going to fulfill all your dreams and whatever you have been watching online. Now is the time you are the actor.
So you're saying that porn consumption or addiction makes you have that mindset?
Yeah, it changes your view of sex. Sex is not about the quality of the relationship, the quality of our intimacy. It is about fulfilling all the desires that I have been harnessing all these years and all this time watching people do that, and now I am the actor, I want to do that. And of course the other person doesn't want to be used in that way, most likely.
It's tricky because one of the first things that an addict will tell himself is that I'm not addicted. I have full control over this, right? I'll just go and see what's new on the feed. And then you find yourself like 3 hours later, it's like, oh my God, like what have I just done again, you see? So that's where it's a slippery slope because it doesn't happen overnight, the consumption turning to addiction. It might happen over months, years, and before you know. And years after you're addicted, you still tell yourself, I don't have a problem. I would have months of being good, like not abusing porn, right? Not having a problem with it, getting on with life. And then something would happen to trigger it. More often than not, it was like, oh, I'm okay now, I've gotten through it, I can go back and have a peek and just see what I've not been missing. So I think this is a pattern for any kind of addiction.
So do you remember the moment when you realized that it wasn't porn consumption for you anymore, it was porn addiction?
It wasn't a moment, it was just like repeatedly not having any power over it at all, no control. Doing what I didn't want to do.
But why? Like, what were you looking for you're saying that you're doing what you don't want to do, so why do you do it?
Sometimes I wasn't even looking. I would just be like, I just wonder what's up on the feed. Yeah, and then boom, 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 it would just unravel.
The issue is, do I want something that is good? And to understand virtue, which is crucial here, is necessary to understand that self-control is insufficient. And this is what many people, I think, we are missing today. One of the reasons why there is a lot of addiction, not only in this area, but in other areas, is because, once again, we have abandoned the morality of virtue, which is to acquire the right dispositions so that I don't need to struggle. So the more you have to exercise self-control, the less virtues you have. Mm-hmm. So imagine if I am an alcoholic and that is whiskey, I have to control myself because there are two forces here: my liking of the whiskey and my will that says this is not a good moment to drink whiskey. So I have to constantly be fighting. And if you rely on self-control, it is only a matter of time before you fail. Because one day your will be very weak and your emotions will want to be rewarded. And then you were asking him, why couldn't you stop? Because if you rely on self-control, you will certainly fall. This is why we call it vicious cycles. So the key not to rely on self-control is to change your emotions. If I am not an alcoholic, I don't need to struggle with alcohol. Mm-hmm. And that's why virtue is important, and virtue affects our emotions as well. Because it is impossible to have a good will and you don't have emotions that accompany that. And the other version of virtue is fortitude that educates our fears, and then temperance that educates our desires. If I don't have wrong desires, my will doesn't have to fight anything to pursue what is good.
But then what if the person is a very self-controlled person and knows that?
But not if you cut the point.
So let us put the extreme. So this person consumes pornography, but is totally under control. Yes. He said, I only watch from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. every first Friday of the month.
Something like that. Yeah, so the thing is, if that is the case and the person is able to kind of stick to that, right, then are we saying that that's okay? Because now the issue is saying that you should not be addicted. I mean, it's with all addictions. But then if you're not addicted, then it's actually okay.
I'm not even sure people think that the addiction is a problem.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because I think, so if you talk about drugs again, right, I think we can see quite clearly already how drugs affect your family as well. But I don't think people see it as explicitly that my porn consumption or addiction affects family.
But they do. People who are addicted, they do. So one of the symptoms or the consequences of that is lack of attention, as he was mentioning. Even physiological, erectile dysfunction comes from that. And it's not surprising if one of the things that addictions do is they desensitize you for this level of pleasure. So what if you are into alcohol, one glass of you are satisfied with one glass of wine, when you are starting to be addicted, one glass is not enough. You have to drink two. After you are into 2 glasses, then 2 glasses are not enough. So the same thing happens with porn, and this is why it escalates. It is not a thing that you are going to be comfortable at one point. It will escalate and it will demand more from you. And this is why in some extreme cases you have, well, as I said, erectile dysfunction, because you are not going to be stimulated, and this is why it affects marriages particularly, because your wife is not an actor, and she's not going to give you what you expect that, and she probably senses that you are using her to satisfy your desires.
So if let's say you watch with the intention to learn, so say for example,
but porn sites are not the best place to learn anything.
I think that's unnecessary, because you actually don't learn anything from pornography.
You can learn the different positions or kind of like the different styles.
But
okay, let us show that what is morally wrong about porn is the will to consume it, to arouse yourself. So that's one thing is to watch things to learn, and that's curiosity, and that could be.
So that's not wrong.
That could be right or wrong depending on what you want to do, depending on the goals, right? Okay. Badness of pornography is to
the what?
The badness of pornography is to that I want to be aroused by looking at other people having sex. So imagine a couple married couple having sex, and then the husband repeating somebody else's name. How romantic is that?
What do you mean?
No, but they won't repeat the name.
So the point is, the connection would be that if you are using these particular images to be aroused, wouldn't she feel that you are not aroused for her? You're aroused
but what
for
if the two of them are watching together to learn?
Yeah, it doesn't change the morality of it. It is just because they are happy with it doesn't mean that it is good for them. That in the sexual act, what you are expecting is that you arouse the other person, not somebody else's.
Like what if they really run out of ideas and they're just bored of like the same old thing over and over again?
No, so I guess the question is, is it wrong if I really just am there to learn, or like if I'm not aroused by it?
Okay, so
again,
this couple that you are talking about, this couple that you are talking about,
it's not me.
It's not Bianca.
Just let me put it out.
I never said it's you. Oh my God!
Of course.
Get it off your chest. It's okay. It's okay to be honest. This couple that you're talking about that are looking at watching porn.
Very hypothetical couple.
But I don't think it's
that
wrong.
are watching porn to learn have absolutely no imagination. The sexual act is so personal. They would be able to sense and tell each other what is nice, what doesn't work, what is ticklish, what might be painful, right? Or it's not mechanical anymore. There's such a deep connection. How you express your love for your partner comes into it, and therein will come the variations and the different positions and all that sort of stuff.
So are you saying that if, let's say, a couple were to say that, okay, we are just going to watch porn to learn and apply, right, that even if they do that they are robbing themselves of the opportunity to be intimate, to communicate and to grow?
Absolutely.
Sex would be about communication. What do you want, what you like, and what I like. And it's a individual, very private, very intimate communication. That if you watch other people doing this, let us perform that. It would be something that is, let us try to be like them. It's not, let us try to be like us.
No. But I don't know if it's more like, I would like to try that, right? Then it's kind of more like a tool to help with the conversation and helping to kind of maybe express possibilities you want to try and stuff like that. So it's not
there is nothing
so
wrong
much
per
about
se in trying to understand other ways of doing it and all that. But at the same time, I would be very, very cautious to say that it's okay and you can do it all the time, because as I said before, it will change sex as communication into a sex like performing what other people are doing. If you want to, so that you can, include this in your repertoire, okay, and that helps the communication, the intimacy of the couple. Okay, fine if that is what you mean. But first of all, people don't use porn in that sense. At least by the most part.
Yeah, that's true.
And second, that it would not be necessary. So there are many ways of communicating the same thing and exploring other ways and other possibilities without watching porn. My point being that these very hypothetical cases and very extreme cases in which can people possibly use porn innocently, Yes, if you squeeze your mind, yes. I mean, if you are a researcher and you have to do a research on pornography and you have to watch 20 hours of internet of pornography without being aroused and because you don't care, because it is, once again, very boring and you don't care about it, that wouldn't be morally wrong. Because you are not literally consuming pornography, you're just using pornography for something that you need. But these cases are just so hypothetical and so out of the normal life and how normally pornography is used that they are not very useful, I think, for...
But honestly, does it really affect like your marriage or relationship by watching porn?
There are many people who divorce because of that.
Divorce?
Yeah, absolutely.
But how does it affect?
Once again, because if you expect your spouse to perform like the actress in the movie, she's not going to perform. And even if chances are that she will feel used. So once again, the right understanding of sexuality or the sexual act is self-giving. And there is nothing self-giving in porn.
If you look at the male body and the female body, it's very obvious what goes into where, right? Yeah. And there's only that many ways that can happen, right? And then it's up to you to go and explore which way that feels the best. There would be material that coaches you in a non-pornographic way, you know?
No.
Yeah,
yes,
there are. For sure there are. No, for sure there are.
What materials?
Okay, so there are doctors who are, you have some sexual problems in your life, they will educate you on how to do it and all that. And
one more time.
It's like live actions. Yeah.
One more time.
There are a section of medicine that deals with...
I didn't know that.
Yes.
And if you don't know how to do it, or you have problems, there are all kinds of problems in sexuality that the husband cannot perform, or the wife cannot perform, or there is pain.
Also, they'll suggest.
There is a section of medicine dealing with that, and you go to a professional, and they will professionally tell you what to do, what to avoid, what is convenient, and what is not. So, if what you really need is knowledge, then porn is not the best. It's not the best way to attain knowledge. Yeah.
What's intrinsically wrong about watching two or more naked bodies?
There is nothing wrong with watching naked bodies. So that's not pornography. So what defines pornography is that you do that, you portray people having sex with the intention of arousing the other people and using that for you to earn money. There is a lot of art. The Sistine Chapel is full of naked bodies. John Paul II actually, because in the Sistine Chapel, many of the naked bodies were covered after Michelangelo painted them. Some other painter covered the sexual bits, right? And John Paul II asked another painter to remove that so that he could show the original version of Michelangelo. So there is nothing wrong in portraying naked bodies if what you intend is to show the beauty of the human body. But if you want to use that to cause arousal and for people to elicit lust in them, then there is nothing good in that. So what is wrong is, perhaps we didn't talk about lust. So the more you, and that's the point of all this, does this make you more lustful or more chaste? That's the real moral question. So if this, whatever it is, makes you more lustful and you don't want to be lustful, then you should avoid it. And if this makes you more chaste, then you should embrace it. And that's the bottom line of all this.
And I think it would be good for you to define chaste, because for a lot of people, chastity, they equate that with just abstinence.
Yeah. My definition of chastity is to educate your sexual desires so that you can put your sexual desires at the service of love. Because if you don't do anything, you will sacrifice love to satisfy your sexual desires. Both lust and chastity are acquired. We are not born chaste, we are not born lustful, but it is way easier to acquire lust than to acquire chastity. Why? Because St. Augustine said we have twisted hearts, especially about the goods that are the best goods. About money, about power, about sex. It is easier to get it wrong than to get it right. It is easier to be lustful than to be chaste. It is easier to be greedy than to be generous. It is easier to be proud than to be humble. So once again, we have to acquire all that.
I think a lot of people just think I'm like this. So this is me.
This me.
They resign
so
to
I'm just comfortable and this me. I'm not called to be better. It's just me. Yeah.
If you ask people what it means to be chaste, it will be not to have sex. It's about the obligation of stop here. That's not chastity. That's a execution of a prohibition. But this is not a skill. You haven't acquired anything. You cannot be chaste. You have to learn to be chaste. The idea that virtue is an acquired disposition has disappeared. Everybody thinks that I have to as long as I will to be chased, I will be chased. There is no way. It's like learning to swim. If you push a guy who doesn't know how to swim in the middle of the sea, he will drown. It doesn't matter if you swim. He's not going to swim on command unless he has learned to swim. And that's what virtues are skills that need learning and checking, and I'm doing the right thing and all that. And after a while, then you acquire that. We have lost that knowledge.
No, but I don't even know whether people want chastity.
What would be in life better than wanting to be a good person? What else do you want to be good at?
But what has me watching porn got to do with me being a good person?
Once again, my definition would be a person with goodwill that only wants good things. And if you want to use people to satisfy your sexual desires, you're not wanting a good thing.
But a lot of people don't see it as usage.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter what people. So morality does not depend on people's opinions.
No, as in like, how does me watching porn equate to me using someone? Because I mean, okay, I don't know whether it's true or not. Maybe in the past, I think the narrative that I heard in the past was that like porn stars were being like sex trafficked and all that. But I feel like in recent years, it's not so much. And it seems like there's consent. Seems like, right?
Yeah, but consent doesn't make anything good. Prostitution is consented. Prostitution is consented, and it's still bad.
Yeah, but then it wouldn't seem like I'm using them, you see, because they consented to it.
You're not treating them as an end in themselves. You're using them as a means to satisfy your desires. The fact that they consent. Prostitution is also consented, and you are using a prostitute.
The fact that they consent doesn't doesn't change the fact that you are using them.
But then the thing is, this is like a lesser evil in that sense because you're not going to.
Yeah, but the lesser evil doesn't take the evil away from
it doesn't make it not evil.
It's lesser evil, but it's still evil, so it's still bad.
Do you know what are the triggers for you?
Yes, I mean, I do. And that's actually a really important part of recovery. But so the triggers would be, let's say I knew I had time alone at home, right? That would be one of the triggers. Or if I had to work late, right? And that's when you're tired and your defenses are down and so those are the triggers you learn to recognize. You see, so in terms of recovery, the further out you can start recognizing you're going that path, it's easier to put in an alternate route. Say, I'm going to work in a cafe instead, Last time, internet was still on cables, believe it or not. And, this is the early days of my struggle, and I had an accountability partner. We were both struggling with different aspects of our sexuality. Mine was pornography. And I would just say, take my cable for tonight, because I know the moment I say goodnight and close the door, it's just going to come, the computer will just come on.
But was it always smooth sailing for you to lead into recovery?
It was never smooth sailing.
But what encouraged you to keep going, to like, okay, I want to break free from this addiction?
Because I didn't want something to control my life. Like I said, that journey was like high and roller coaster, right? Seeing different, like getting help, seeing different people, having periods of good and bad. But I brought that addiction into my married life. I guess the hard stop was when I saw and experienced the effect that it was having on my marriage.
So guys, we hope that you guys have been enjoying this episode so far. Be sure to tune in to our second episode of this conversation. Be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell to know when the next part will be out.
In the meantime, do let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye!
The moment you realize that your husband's watching porn, like you just feel betrayed and being cheated on.
Wait, so actually, how do you share with your wife that you had this addiction?
Oh no, she called me.
She called you?
I don't care. I'm not a Catholic. I'm not a Christian. Don't tell me what I do and don't do in the bedroom. It's got nothing to do with you.
A good person is a person who wants only good things.
Good for me. Watching porn for me. So that's what you're saying is bad.